It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Yes, live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. Thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube, Civic Center TV, Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, AT&T Channel 99, and Comcast Channel 15. As we are well into the spring, it may not often feel so good outside, but you know it does feel good and taste good. Chocolate. Such a great treat. And out of Keego Harbor, there is a local woman who turned her passion for chocolate making into a successful, lucrative business. Kids, pay attention. The Splash Live's own Jake Schaff has the story.
Everybody's got a sweet tooth, and a lot of people, myself included, like to satisfy those cravings with a nice, tasty piece of chocolate. And Dwar Chocolate in Keego Harbor, Michigan offers some of the best chocolate you could possibly find in the community. It's the kind of place that any chocoholic is sure to enjoy. Chocolate maker Rajni Kankipudi is the owner of Dwar Chocolate, and I had the chance to speak with her about just what the business and what chocolate making as a whole truly means to her.
So Dwar Chocolate happened because of my passion for eating chocolate. It started with a gift that I did not like, and so out of, anger or spite, whatever, I went and bought myself a chocolate making class. And when I finished the class, I came out thinking, oh, I can make chocolate. And that's when I bought a bag of beans from Mindo and started making chocolate. And then it kind of got out of hand and out of control. I started making chocolate, and it grew out of my basement. And at one point, I was making so much chocolate and spending so much money and giving out as free samples. At that point, I thought, you know what, I need to sell this in order to sustain my hobby.
It's unlike any chocolate you've ever had. It's such an elevated experience to try one of these bars. They're not a Hershey bar. They're nothing like that. The way that Rajani sources her chocolate and the care and time that she puts into it, it just makes the chocolate unbelievably exceptional. Every time we have an event, Christmas stockings, Easter baskets, we always stop by and get something for all of the kids and our neighbors.
I've done chocolate tastings. I've been in Ecuador. I've made chocolate. None of this is new for me. But in tasting Rajni's chocolate, it was extraordinary. The flavors, the uniqueness, the textures. She has a hot chocolate like I've never had before. She made a white chocolate that was just out of this world, and I'm not even a white chocolate fan. So everything that I've tasted so far is just fabulous.
How does it feel to give back to the community in this way?
It is so cool. So when I started working here, or looked up a spot here in Keego Harbor, the Civic Center or the office, City Council office, were so good. They were like super nice. They helped me with everything. I didn't have to worry because I didn't know what business involved. And so they helped me out with all the licensing. So giving back to this community is so wonderful because they come in, they support, they say, oh my God, I live down the street and this is the best chocolate. And that's the biggest compliment we get, is that they actually now like chocolate. Now they begin to appreciate the nuances of the flavor profiles, how hard or how much we work to make a bar of chocolate. It's not just the connection from the source, but also the destination. It's eventually opening that door. Dwar means a doorway. It's opening that door into this whole chocolate world. It's connecting the farmer and the consumer. And so it's like meeting both ends of the people, right from the source to the end customer. It's like the best thing ever.
Incredible authenticity and delicious delicacies. That's what you can expect when you visit Dwar Chocolate in Keego Harbor. You will surely not be disappointed with what you find and taste along the way. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Thank you for that story, Jake. Fine chocolate. Who would have ever thought of chocolate being a luxurious item? As I visit their website myself, you can see on their homepage they have all different types of chocolate, different colors of chocolate you would have never known. Very educational. It just talks about how they're sourced from India and Honduras, and each piece embodies a fusion of flavors handcrafted with love and a heartfelt gift for you. DeWaarChocolate.com, DWAAR chocolate.com. Pay them a visit in our backyard at Kego Harbor. Speaking of in our backyard, a local lawmaker introduced the Library in Every School bill, which is aimed to have a library in every school that may not have it, may not have the resources. This bill is aimed to pull those resources together to provide those. Here to talk a little bit more about that, Senator Rosemary Bayer, to talk about it. And Senator Bayer, can you tell us about this proposed legislation and why this issue is important to you?
Oh, great. Thank you. I'm really excited to be talking about it. I'm excited about the bills. We have some other things that go with the bills, even I can tell you about. I grew up with books. My grandmother was a librarian in Ferndale, and we used to go there, and she would actually keep the ripped up, written on books for us. We would read everything. So it's hugely important to me personally. But that being said, what we know is that libraries in school, with librarians in school, have a huge impact on the success at school. And it's achievement, it's graduation, it's grades, it's all that. It's also equity, because reading is the number one factor in success at school. So if you can't read, you are going to have trouble from that point on, right? That's why that third grade thing was so critical, right? Everybody knows that if you aren't reading by third grade, we got to help. We got to help in a big way, right? So we have a lot of extra resources to make sure that anybody who is struggling at that point gets caught up right then. Because if you wait till fifth grade or seventh grade, it's so much harder. Ask any adult who's going back later to learn how to read how much more difficult it is at that stage. So we're really focused on literacy overall. And then there's a lot of data, a lot of studies that show that literally specifically school libraries and school librarians are a huge part of that impact. So we wanted to put it back. I know that I've been in schools, I visited schools where the library wasn't even there anymore. It was an empty room or it was filled with stuff. It's not being used as a library. And I think that's a tragedy. So there's other pieces we can talk about too. Do you have specific questions?
No, absolutely. There's so much running through my mind with this because first and foremost, this is one of those things that you don't even realize until you think about it. And I thought back and I was like, wow, I do remember being in some schools where there were no official actual library. And you would think that's where a library should be, in a school.
And I know that, there's a lot more shift to online content, right?
Correct.
That doesn't mean you don't still need librarians and the opportunity to focus on literacy, on being able to read. And the other piece, so librarians themselves are a huge part of it because they bring expertise, right? They bring the skills that are needed. They also bring new technology, right? Librarians are technologists anymore, right? They bring that new technology. One of the things that started this discussion here in the Michigan Senate about needing to do this is one of my constituents. I live in West Bloomfield, by the way. I love that basketball team that was on right before me. Anyway, back to the reading. The thing with librarians are, we found there's a huge need. There's a constituent in our district who wrote a couple of books about online literacy, about understanding, using social media, how to do that effectively, and how to tell when something you're reading is a story or a real thing. Is it truth or fiction? How do you know? How do you find the sources of things? How do you get down to the bottom of it to say, okay, it was entertaining, but I know that it's really just a story. And so we're building curriculum. So this is all in budget. So none of this is approved yet, right? We're in the process of putting all the pieces together and we're trying to put it in the budget for next year. curriculum development to help those librarians specifically focus on that. It will also give teachers the opportunity to use, there'll be a class, teachers have to do continuing education credits every year. So there'll be a class that they can choose to use that shows them, because online content is in every kind of class anymore. It's always, it's your papers you're writing, research you're doing. So all teachers should understand how to make sure to include that in their content. So so that students understand when they're working online, if you're writing a report, you better make sure that's a factual thing as opposed to somebody's made up story. It's not going to get you a very good grade on your report, right? So all those pieces together gives them all the opportunity to keep up with that technology and make sure that we're making the best use of those online resources. It's a huge piece of it. We got to have all of those things.
No, absolutely. And joining us, we have Michigan Senator Rosemary Bayer representing West Bloomfield, talking about this library in every school legislation that she helped introduce as of recently. And this is addressing, like you said, the declining literacy rates, significant decrease in the number of school librarians employed statewide. There was a decrease in the number of school librarians, 73% between 2000 and 2016, according to sources. Now, with this legislation, I understand in every school, that's the thing, in every school. So with that being said, we're talking about different school districts, different size schools and students. And will this legislation account for the different size schools and in different fundings? And I know you spoke about the funding a little bit, but can you get into that, how, the different size libraries in the different schools may fluctuate?
Yeah, and there is, kind of laid out in the legislation a little map of sizes, right? So when you're really, really small, the requirement to have a library diminishes, right? As you get smaller and smaller. If you only have 100 kids in your school, maybe you're going to share a library with a neighboring school or the next nearest school. So there's different ways to look at it. We're trying to be reasonable. And oftentimes, so those bills just got introduced recently. There's always the opportunity for adjustments as the bills go through the process here in the legislature. They've just been introduced. They've not had a committee hearing yet. So we have to go, and that opens up the opportunity for corrections, fixes, improvements, all that kind of stuff that goes all the time when we do new legislation. And this is kind of a big deal. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that we're talking about doing this, that we're taking this very seriously, and we're willing to put resources to it. So here's your chance to speak out loud. We know that the librarians are really excited about this. That it's a big deal for us statewide. I think it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, see, the thing is, a lot of people, like we discussed before, we're in a digital age, and kids nowadays are just phone, tablets, computers for the most part. I wouldn't even say desktop as much. It's really electronics that are more mobile, what these kids are on. So it's the focus you spoke on a little bit more of the technology side too. Can you give a little bit more insight into the technology investments with this legislation also? Will there be iPads, computers, and things of that nature?
So that's not in this part of the budget, but there are other places where that kind of equipment is opportunities for funding. And the main thing that we continue to try to do, this current school year, we raised up the foundational allowance, right? The spending allowance per student that goes into every school district. We raised that up last year. There's another raise up in the current draft budget, right? We keep focusing on anything we can do, and we're getting pretty close to 10,000 per student, which is a pretty big number. It's increased a lot in the last 5 years. So,
Michigan Senator Rosemary Bayer joining us to talk about the library in every school bill that she helped introduce into the legislation. For more information on that, go to civiccentertv.com. And speaking of good things for the community, yoga is another great thing. And we do have someone locally in the Sylvan Lake community teaching yoga classes and leading the community into that great zen that we all need. And joining us to talk about that, Misty Markham of Luna Moon SUP Yoga, if I'm saying that right. Thank you for joining us, Misty.
Yeah, that's correct. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us today. So yoga, essentially, you are teaching it in Sylvan Lake, and you're bringing the community together, and I believe you have classes every Thursday. So can you talk about this class that you're teaching and how it affects the community?
Yeah, and when you say community, it really is a community class, and it's all levels. It's all, basic to more of a seasoned yogi, so to speak. But the part about the community is the fact that it's not quite a studio. We're at the community center. We have had the fireplace going on behind us, giving us a little bit of an ambience vibe throughout the winter season, and you're amongst your neighbors and friends, and it kind of takes away the vibe of a studio if you are a little hesitant or nervous about being in a studio space.
Right.
And we have our laughing moments, so there's that, and then they leave and they feel relaxed and ready to go home and just chill out and maybe go to bed.
Nice. See, I am a fan of yoga. I haven't actively practiced yoga quite yet. I think I might have been to one yoga class, but I appreciate it because if I'm not mistaken, I want you to correct me on this. Yoga is sort of like a mixture of stretching and meditation. Now, I do stretch and I do meditate, and I do those two things separately, but I love the fusion of both of them. Can you just talk about the overall benefits of yoga, and can you talk about the ages that you see coming in and for your yoga classes, and how can you be to start yoga?
Absolutely. Like I was saying about being in all levels type of class. So if you're a beginner and you have a little bit of a concept of it, I usually start class with like a seated posture. We do talk about breath and
Hmm.
getting acclimated with using breath with movement. So I give a lot of modifications as we get going, as we start to warm up within the 15-20 minutes of class. And I always give them like I shouldn't say opt out movement, but something where if your breath is starting to feel challenged, that's how you know you've met an edge where you may want to back off or go to down dog, child's pose, that kind of thing. And if you want to take it a little bit further, then I like to give that too. I like to give these more advanced levels, like layers of a cake, right? You start foundation and then just keep kind of building up on that. And we'll get to a maybe a more of a challenging pose.
Hmm.
I like to focus on a lot of balance. I do teach paddleboarding as well, so I feel like balance even as you age. So you have like the kids that are very flexible
Hmm.
and they're fun to have in class and witness, and then someone that's a little bit on the older side, then yeah, I mean, there's going to be some modifications
Right.
that I'll offer up or assist. And when I say opt out, sometimes you just, if your body's not feeling it, your body's not feeling it. You don't want to overdo it.
No, no, I get it. I get it 100%. And like I said, I love the benefits of yoga from what I've heard. And like I said, I believe I practiced it once. I'm not even sure if it was yoga, but I know I was breathing, I was stretching, and I was just, just taking my time into things.
Yeah.
But just to talk about this, joining us, Misty Markham of Luna Moon SUP Yoga, talking about her yoga classes in Sylvan Lake and the benefits of it and how it brings the community together. So can you talk about your experience of seeing the community together, how you also put the word out for the community to know about this also?
Good questions. Yeah, I use a lot of Facebook, the community pages that we have in Sylvan Lake, and word of mouth too is great. And I see neighbors even when I'm out walking the dog, and
Hmm.
they ask me, "Is there class?" and that kind of thing. They had yoga, and I before I started it in October, so I've been doing it for a few months now, and it's just nice to see people come together. I think it gives them also something to look forward to, like on a Thursday night, gets them out of the house just a little bit,
Right.
especially during those winter months, and see their other neighbors they might not see because we're a lake community. We love the lake, and it's not summer yet. So
Right.
I've seen that benefit as well. And just mentally overall, for people to hear how much they enjoy coming. They're like, I may not be the best, I may not be able to do it all, but I really appreciate it and
Right.
you offering this for the community. So it's been very rewarding and humbling as well to hear.
Good, good. I know that feedback from the community has to impact you because the community impacts your business and the things that you have going on in regards to yoga instruction. If I'm not mistaken, when we spoke off the air, Misty, you told me that you are remote with this. You don't necessarily stick to one area, even though this is at the community center Thursday, 6:30. But can you talk about, is it always inside? Do you take it outside? And where other places do you take it? And why Sylvan Lake specifically?
Well, Sylvan Lake is where I reside, my home base, my home lake. With paddleboarding, that's on the water. We do yoga on the paddleboards, believe it or not. It'll be my 7th season, and again, when I started the business, the love for doing yoga, being physical, and the importance of it, and the aspects to then share, to be certified in teaching, certified in paddleboarding, and marry all of that together, and use the outdoors as your nature's twinkle. So I do go mobile because I have this. Which you just showed, this van that has been now celebrating 1 year with me as Luna Moon paddleboard hauler.
Okay, nice.
Yes, now it allows me to do retreats, and we can go on the road and take the gear, and they get to experience different waters now. Some of them that have been with me for a while. We were going to the UP 2nd year at Big Bay up in Lake Superior. We won't really do yoga on Lake Superior, but we're right there where we'll be able to see it, and we'll be on an inland lake where it's really peaceful.
Yeah. Oh man, it sounds like something I have to get into during the summer. To be honest with you, Misty, we just showed the picture. Our listeners on 89.3 can't see it, but paddleboarding, stand-up paddleboarding. Can we get into this a little bit more? Talk about these classes a little bit more. Exactly where you do them, how people can sign up, and things of that nature, please.
Yes, if you go to Luna Moon SUP, SUP, it stands for standuppaddleyoga.com. Even if you were to Google Luna Moon SUP Yoga, it would come up. You would see my Instagram, my Facebook, and see all the pictures. I post quite regularly, especially even with video, just showing even after class shenanigans, like things that, it really livens people up to just kind of get out of their own mindset, leave all their cares on shore, and have fun and laugh. And they're also supportive of each other as well. It's like ageless, it's, genderless. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just show up and just willing to have a good time. And what's awesome is that, like I said, you embrace the community around you, because everyone else is in the same situation. They may have done it 5 times, and you might be your first time, but it doesn't matter. They're all there and just willing to accept anyone.
Ooh, Missy, look, just talking to you and looking at those pictures, it already has me excited for the summer season. I cannot wait. Thank you for talking about this. Thank you for joining us to bring this into us, to give us something to look forward to. Any last words, any other things you have coming up you want to tell our community?
I'm excited as well. I mean, I hope you go and check it out at least. Yoga, you can start in the studio now and get ready for outdoors, and then follow me along for other workshops and things like that are coming up soon.
Yes, absolutely. Join us again, Misty Markham of Luna Moon SUP Yoga. You can find out more on Facebook at Luna Moon SUP. Thank you again so much, Misty. We appreciate you for joining us.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great things to look forward to for the spring and the summer as we kind of slide into it. Even though it is the spring season now, we're not necessarily feeling those effects, but it is something to definitely look forward to as we champion that. But keeping things local, we want to talk about West Bloomfield High School vocal music program as they continue to shine with high honors from state organizations. And specifically to talk about that and what's going on, we have choral director and fine arts coordinator for West Bloomfield High School, Cheryl Hauk, joining us. Thank you, Cheryl, for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So first of all, congratulations West Bloomfield High School Chamber Choir and Chorale, if I'm saying that right, for achieving the highest
correct.
ones rating at the Michigan School Vocal Music Association Choral Festival. Congratulations. Talk about
They're
that
really
experience.
Our students work almost all year for this experience. They go in front of adjudicators and they sing two classical, traditional, what we call traditional choral songs, and they're judged on 6 categories by 3 judges. And then they're able to go into a clinic with one of those judges and have like a mini lesson for 15 minutes. And when they're done with that, they have to go sight read. And so they're graded on their sight reading that, of course, they've been working on all year long. And so there's points that add up, and there are different ratings, 1 excellent, 2 good, 3 poor, and they all came back after working all year long with 1s.
And
Yeah.
1s. Excellent. Ooh, congratulations. Well-respected music and choir program that you have going there, and this acknowledgement just further proves that and talks about it. What makes this program so effective in cultivating excellent student vocalists?
Well, we've been doing that for a while. One is the support of the district and our curriculum, that we're able to have different choirs for different kids and different activities. So we have choirs that are just a commitment to come to class and 1 concert. And then we have Laker Express that do about 26 performances, including the Pistons, throughout the year. Of course, just like a math class, there's different levels. Some are audition. We do have the opportunity this year. I want to share with you on Monday, I'm taking students from every choir to Hawaii, and they're going to be singing at Pearl Harbor on Wednesday and the state capital of Hawaii on Thursday, and then representing Michigan in the Vietnam Veterans Parade in Honolulu on Friday. So we're really excited about next week. So I had to share that. I'm sorry.
No, okay, so you saw the look on my face. Our listeners at 89.3 Lakes FM didn't, but my mouth just dropped. How do I audition to get, like, I really want to do that. That is crazy. That is a bucket list. Hawaii. You're getting all of these great opportunities. They're performing at the Pistons game. How do you get these opportunities for these students to be in front of this audience and being on the stage, on these many different stages and platforms?
Well, it's really the kids. I mean, they go to some things they're invited to, and they represent West Bloomfield so well, not only in their singing, but in the way that they represent our values and our diversity and our equity, and all those things we talk about for everything else. And because of that, organizations, they want West Bloomfield choirs to come and be part of their activities and events. And they built a reputation. It's not me. They have for being those kids out in our community and outside. Of course, like Hawaii, they did Carnegie Hall last year. And those only come because those kids represent us so well.
Yeah, and that speaks highly of, not only the school district, their leadership and you, Cheryl, and also their parenting. Let's give, some support and, some commitment to the parenting also for, getting these kids focused and having them reach these great things, like go to Hawaii. You still kind of blew me away with that one. You caught me off guard. I see you have many renowned alumni, though, also. Like you said, this has been going on for a while. You aren't new to this. You are true to this. Some of whom visited recently, Lauren Nicole Chapman, while she was in town in Broadway for Detroit's Frozen. Can you talk about her visit and, maybe her influence, on the students there? Did she get a chance to talk to the students?
So she did go to the middle school, but she did talk to the kids. We went to Frozen to see her. She is Anna on Frozen, and she's a star. She's just wonderful, but she's also a wonderful person. So she spent time with the kids. Her brother was also in the choir program. Her mom was the president of the Boosters. So the Chapmans are really, really special people. She graduated from Interlochen. She went her senior year to Interlochen and then went on. Her friend and colleague Danny Kornfeld is starring in Barry Manilow's Harmony, he opened this year. Unfortunately, they just closed, but he's been in Rent and many other Broadway things. And so Danny Cornfield's as well. We have Ryan Destiny out in LA who sings, who's been in Queen Latifah's Star. We have Chelsea Helm, who just sang with the Korean National Choir. But we also have Casey Brown, who is top, what did they say? Top 30 of 30 in Chicago's Fortune 100. So, you know, we've had some rich alumni, and they come back and they share their experiences with students. And I get to share in that experience too. I feel very blessed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, that goes to speak to your leadership. You know, you've been doing this and guiding these kids and, you know, in the right direction, getting them those opportunities to be in front of people in these platforms. And you've obviously been doing a great job to the point that you've been recognized and acknowledged. So congratulations again. Any last words for the community or any other things that you all have going on besides the Hawaii trip that you want to tell the community?
Well, I mean, the community probably already knows, but this is, I'm retiring after 41 years and 18 years in West Bloomfield. And I just want to thank the community for supporting this choir program. And I hope they continue to do that and give the opportunities to our kids and let them shine even as I retire. So thank you for this opportunity.
No, thank you. Thank you for your service to the community, to these kids, and providing them, like we said, the opportunity and giving them something to look forward to again. Cheryl Houck, Choral Director and Fine Arts Coordinator at West Bloomfield High School, joining us, talking about their recent achievements from state organizations with their highest honors. Thank you again, Cheryl.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. What great news to talk about and to share in our local community. And we want to thank Cheryl again. You know, she says she's officially hanging it up after all these years, but we want to thank her. But we have so much more in store for our local community that you definitely want to find out more about. We are live, local, and social on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. It's that time of year, Lakers. Gather around to honor our community's volunteers at the 52nd Annual Michigan Week Awards. Watch as these local all-stars are honored for their leadership, dedication, and passion to their community. To register, go to michiganweek.org or catch the live broadcast May 10th at 7 a.m. on civiccentertv.com or on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. The West Bloomfield Youth Assistants will be recognizing local youth for their volunteer service, personal growth, and leadership. Join us as schools, hospitals, and religious organizations nominate the up-and-comers in your community. Show your pride for our future. The Youth Recognition Awards, May 1st, 6 p.m. at the West Bloomfield Middle School. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
That's right, live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Thank you for joining me today. Now, as we just wrapped up talking to Cheryl Houck of West Bloomfield High School Choral Director, thank you again for her services. As she says, she will be retiring soon. She just talked about Broadway and some of the students from her choir and how they've gone on to succeed in different areas. And speaking of Broadway, a nonprofit theater arts organization called Michigan Stage, in collaboration with our friends at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, presents Theater for All Initiative, which is a way to talk Broadway. And here to talk a little bit more about that specifically, we have the chair of Talking Broadway, Robin Kaufman. Thank you for joining us, Robin.
Hi, Kevin.
Thank you so much for being here, Robin. So we are dealing with this new initiative, Theater for All at the West Bloomfield Township Library. Can you tell us a little bit more about this before we dig a little bit deeper?
Sure. It's a monthly program that's free for the public that we run at the West Bloomfield Library. We talk about a Broadway show each month, and it includes discussion of the musical, usually a musical. It talks about the backstory, the directors, the writers, the productions, as well as we have some entertainment, we have some singing. We usually have 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 professional singers who come to talk to us and sing for us about the show. We get all sorts of really interesting information from this amazing man named Tim Paray from the Michigan stage.
Nice, nice. And you have been a part of this this event since the beginning, essentially. Can you just talk about what kind of prompted this and why choose West Bloomfield as the location?
So, as far back as I can remember, all my life, I've been passionate about 2 things: libraries and theater. And I'm the lucky girl who gets to combine them both, bring a program about theater that nobody's ever seen before to my favorite library in West Bloomfield. I've been a member of the Friends of the Library, a board member for as long as I've lived in West Bloomfield. And I've been a theater geek for as long as I've been alive. So it was a wonderful way to combine both of my wonderful passions and make something really good happen in our town.
Yes, I love when people can put their passions together, especially if there are 2 passions that may not seem to coordinate or be related to each other. Like you'll have someone say, I love to cook and I love to sing. And then someone say, how can you put those 2 together? And then next thing you know, they have a TV show where they're the singing cook on Fox or something like that. And so to find a way to combine those, as soon as you said that, I said, I love that. I love that because we all have different talents, different passions, and to put that together is a wonderful thing. So throughout this program, Theater for All, can you share some highlights, memorable moments from the program that you can remember that stood out?
Sure. So we've become monthly. Last year we couldn't quite make it gel. Last year was our first year, but we had some size restrictions because of issues at the library. But so this year we're going to be every 3rd Sunday of every month. My favorite shows are being highlighted this year. Tim and I sat down and talked about what we wanted to see, and he was just taking notes for me from my just rambling. So last year we had the picture that you see on the screen right now is Tim on the right with Liz Lombard, our resident singer, on the left. And every month she comes and she sings something wonderful from whatever show we're highlighted. This Sunday, we're going to be talking about West Side Story, which is a perennial favorite. And I'm sure Liz and another special guest singer will have some wonderful entertainment for us, in addition to talking about the people behind it. Jerome Robbins was a famous choreographer and dancer, and he did West Side Story right from the inception. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about Jerome Robbins and West Side Story and its origins as from Romeo and Juliet, all that sort of stuff. My favorite moment from earlier this year, we talked about Hairspray, and we had a wonderful song, Good Morning Baltimore, from the show presented to us at the event.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of different aspects and things that you're talking about. I love that you're talking about, actual Broadway plays and kind of breaking them down, looking at them from a different perspective and things of that nature. Joining us now, by the way, to talk about the Talking Broadway Theater for All initiative at the West Bloomfield Township Library. We have Robin Kaufman, Chair of Talking Broadway, talking about the Theater for All initiative. So as the chair of Talking Broadway from this, what do you feel or what do you want attendees who come to this event to essentially take away from it?
Well, of course, the love of theater. That's my top thing. And also getting to know a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. In the last 8 or 10 years, I've become a Broadway investor and producer, and I've learned so much about what goes on besides the actors on stage and what the public gets to see. And it's kind of cool to get into that backstory and find out more about the production and how it came to be and why and all of that kind of stuff. It's a really cool discussion.
Yes, yes. As someone, I like to look at, things from a production standpoint. I'll watch a movie
Yeah.
and I'll watch for the continuity. They had lightning, but they didn't have rain, or there's, that's not realistic. I'll do things like that. So I have that. So this type of event is for people like me who want to know a little bit more about the production, the analytics, the structure of things like that, the why, like you said also. So what are some common misconceptions or things people just don't generally know about Broadway, the preparation for Broadway in general, that you love to share?
Well, mounting a show on Broadway is a 10 to 30 year project. I've just invested in a program in a Broadway show called Harmony, which was written by Barry Manilow. He first discovered the story of these 6 young men. It's a true story of these 6 young men about 30 years ago, and it took him this long to get the show on Broadway. It just opened on Broadway last fall. And coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, one of the lead stars was a young man who went to West Bloomfield High School, Danny Kornfeld. So because of all of that, and it's an extraordinary story, we became producers in it. So we've learned a whole lot about what goes on besides, like I said before, what goes on besides putting on a show and getting on the stage.
Absolutely. Wow, 30 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is definitely one of those did you know moments right there. So great information.
Exactly.
I could sit here and pick your brain about a million different things, Robin, but
I'd love that anytime.
right. But before maybe we'll have to invite you back. But before we go, can you just give any additional information? How can people become part of this Theater for All? How can they attend, or any other things that you want to give and tell the community?
Well, we run on the 3rd Sunday of every month. So this Sunday from 2 till 4 at the main library in the big meeting room. Tim Paray is an amazing asset to this community. He's the founder of Michigan Stage, and he's been working with us from its inception. And he's a font of knowledge about everything having to do with Broadway musicals. And he's got all sorts of connections. So we get all sorts of wonderful stuff that we wouldn't be able to get without Tim. And like I said, we highlight a different show every month. So our March program, as I said, is West Side Story. In April, we'll be talking about Sweet Charity, May Hamilton, and then we take the summer off. September Cabaret, October Wicked, and November Jersey Boys. So those are some really hot, wonderful musicals with a lot of background and a lot of famous people involved that we have plenty to talk to them about or talk about with them. We've also on occasion had a Zoom meeting as part of our program with someone involved in either the original production or a current production of whatever the show is. And there's an incredible amount of insight talking to an actor who's waiting backstage to go on.
That is very, very insightful. And a lot of the things that you have coming up for the plays and the different months seem like they right align with the month, or at least the time of the year. So that's so perfect. Thank you again, Robin Kaufman, chair of Talking Broadway, joining us talking about the Theater for All initiative at the West Bloomfield Township Library. Thank you again, Robin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely. I love talking about different things going on in the community. You can find out more about the Theater for All program at wblib.org. It's where you can find out how you can get more information there. Speaking of different things going on in the community, we like to continuously shed light on and educate myself as well as others. The Temple Israel of West Bloomfield is hosting their adult Purim this Saturday. And I have the pleasure of having someone join us who can really educate myself as well as everyone else on what's going on. Cantorial Chair at Temple Israel West Bloomfield, Michael Smolash, joining us. Did I say your name right, Mike?
Hi, Kevin. You hear me now okay?
I can hear you now. Mic check 1, 2. Thank you so much. Did I say everything correct? Did I pronounce your name correct? I want to make sure I'm doing everything respectfully.
Thanks, Kevin. As close as anybody ever gets, it's Smolash, but that was a beautiful, almost there. That's what everybody gets. It's Smolash, and pleasure to talk to you and see you in person again.
Absolutely. Thank you again, sir, for joining us. So we're here talking about this adult Purim that you have this weekend, and thank you. You helped me to make sure I pronounced that right. But tell us a little bit more about what this is and what this means to the community.
Sure. Purim is a very old holiday, one of our oldest. It dates back about 2,500 years. So this interrupts Jewish history at the point when, the first temple stood for 400 years in ancient Israel, the land of Israel, and was destroyed. Now we're in the second temple period, about 50 years into that. So the year is 475 BC. That's where it happens, or when it happens. And that land and Egypt and Babylon, all that area is ruled over by ancient Iran, by Persia, right now under King Xerxes the Great. So that's when and that's where. And the story remembers an event that happened in Xerxes' rule over the empire when some high-ranking official in the Persian Empire tried to wipe out actually the entire Jewish population, including ancient Israel and all the other lands of Persia where the Jews were living. And without mentioning God in the story, without God overtly appearing, through political workings, the Jews were saved. And so for 2,500 years, we've celebrated that salvation. And there's a lot of traditions we can get into. There's a lot of practices. But one of them that you mentioned is doing a play retelling the story of Purim. Mm-hmm. And that's called a Spiel. Spiel is just German and Yiddish for a play. So that's the event happening this Saturday here at Temple Israel. We're going to put on the story of Purim in a modern and unusual way.
Thank you for giving me a spiel. So that's essentially the play that will go on, that will essentially depict the story of the Purims. Thank you for enlightening me and our audience on that information a little bit more. There's an inspired theme this year, though, also, if I'm not mistaken, the election edition. Can you talk a little bit more about the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, so normally we pick some theme like America's Got Talent became America's Got Cholent, if you know cholent's a Jewish dish. Mm-hmm. Like a rolling prune we did one year instead of like a rolling stone. So kind of silly ways to introduce the story. Whenever there's a presidential election every 4 years, we take the advantage of that to make fun of any politician we can get our hands on. Okay. And so we make it an election edition. And so, all the major politicians will make an appearance, so to speak, of course, in the form of our rabbis and our cantors. And we sing parodies of songs, basically poking fun at everything going on in politics, but without certainly taking sides or, trying to make any kind of deep statements.
I'm just laughing. The premise for that already has me just dying laughing because I'm already on board with it. Taking something that's so serious, that makes the world so tense right now, and just making fun of it, being lighthearted with it. I'm already a fan of that right there. Join us right now, cantorial chair at Temple Israel, West Bloomfield, Michael Smolash. Talking about the adult Purim that they have and Spiel this Saturday at Temple Israel. So could you provide some insights into how this clergy prepare for and creates this Purim Spiel each year?
Well, we have, I'm the one that takes on the brave task of writing it. I've got the latest version of the script right here. Mm-hmm. We have some great help from talented people in the community. I don't know if you're familiar with Wendy Schenker. She's definitely worth getting to know. She's a top writer in North America, writes for celebrities, for award shows, etc. Our soloist, Emma Trevax, also has a real good sense of comedy, so she helps. And I kind of put the whole thing together in the most zany way we can. And the look you have on your face is kind of what we're going for. Just have a good time, blow off some steam, celebrate the holiday, and maybe, get a little of the stress out of the political situation.
And that's perfect. I think that's exactly what we need nowadays, specifically. So can you tell us, if I'm not mistaken, you say this is actually open to the community, free also? Just talk about that if it's true, and just give the details on how people can actually attend this if so.
Absolutely. Everyone is welcome. The whole community. It's happening this Saturday night at 7. You'll probably be more familiar, if you're from a Jewish heritage with what's going on. It's a religious ceremony. It's at a synagogue, but it's open to the community. We welcome everyone. There's actually childcare as well. So if you want to bring your kids, drop them off, they're going to have a nice evening also doing kids Purim activities. And then there's going to be some free light food and wine to get us in the mood, the whole spiel, and then free dessert after with dancing. So it's basically a whole evening and date with a Jewish event, childcare included. And it's at Temple Israel, 5725 Walnut Lake Road. And if you want to reserve a spot, just email Maya, M-A-Y-A, at temple-israel.org to sign up and get a chair. It's going to be a packed room.
Oh, Michael, you had me at childcare and wine. You don't have to convince me anymore, sir. Any last words about anything that you all have going on? Just any words that you want to share with the community at all?
Yeah, we say at the time of Purim that joy increases and increases and increases, and we say that joy also breaks all boundaries. So I invite everyone of whatever background in our community to kind of get on this beautiful carpet ride of joy that's happening in our calendar, because any challenge you have in front of you, if you approach it with a joyful heart and with a joyful attitude, you'll see that all barriers will melt away.
Absolutely. Basic principles of life. I can get with that. Perfect place to land, Michael. Thank you again for joining us. Michael Smolash, Temple Israel of West Bloomfield, Cantorial Chair. Thank you again for your time.
Great to talk to you, Kevin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love to talk to local people in the community, like we said, doing things and educating myself as well as our audience on different things they have going on with different cultures. Speaking of different things, as the weather continues to break, another reason to get outside is to take care of your own personal landscaping. But, we also have a holiday coming up, Easter, so we have different events for that also. And the West Bloomfield English Gardens is hosting an Easter egg hunt for the kids. Joining us to talk about that, Olivia, excuse me if I say this wrong, Zarnt.
You got it.
VP Marketing of English Gardens. Thank you, Olivia.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. I landed the last name, right?
You got it. Nailed it.
Thank you so much.
Super easy.
I appreciate that. So, so you all have a lot going on that I had no idea English Gardens ever did. So talk about this Easter egg hunt that's coming up, and just go into it. We'll talk about more later.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're so excited to bring events back. Of course, COVID kind of derailed everything and everyone. But starting last year, we made the trek to bring events back. We're super committed to the community and offering these types of things. This is our 70-year anniversary this year. So we've been around for some time and are known as the go-to and a great resource. So we wanted to make sure, that was still a huge element of our business and giving back in that way. So starting this weekend, we have our Easter egg hunt, all of our 6 locations across Metro Detroit, all day, Saturday and Sunday, both this weekend and next weekend. So the kids can come out, color a little Easter bag that they can collect their eggs in, and at the end, turn those in to get a prize. So something fun, especially I know when I'm shopping, it's nice to have the kids busy as they're running around, so that's something fun for them. We have a lot more coming up too.
Yes, I see. This is one of those things that I think people should know about. Those little pockets of events that you can take your kids to, or enjoy just some family time, like you said, while you're shopping or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely.
And you all do a lot more for the community and in the community than just that. You all have other events that you host. Can you talk about other events? I see you have a garden party, a kids plant pal workshop. Let's talk about that also, please.
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, we have the Easter egg hunt the next 2 weekends free at all locations. So whether you're shopping or not, we'd love to have you and the family out. We also have on Saturday, 3:30, March 30th, we have our free lawn care seminar. Again, free event, all locations. If you're curious about how to get the greenest lawn in town, you need to be there, 10 a.m. And then, yes, our garden party, spring garden party, we've done for years and years, and we have kind of a new take on it this year. So we have different headlining speakers talking on all different topics, annuals, perennials, how to create a cut flower garden, all different things, all free seminars. We have about 2 going on each day at all of our locations throughout Metro Detroit. And during the weekend, we also have a Plant Pal workshop for the kids. Again, another tie just to keep them busy and something fun for them. And they get to plant and see something come to life. So for this one, they get to paint a pot, make a little face on it, whatever they want to do. And then we have wheatgrass for them to plant, and they can see the hairs sprout over time. So that's fun for the kids to really feel like they're, not only engaged in the store, but then take it home and watch it grow. That's always fun. So we have that workshop going on throughout the weekend. Those tickets are for sale or live now on our website, englishgardens.com. We have different kids activities throughout the day too. So if you're not interested or can't make the workshop time, there's different sensory bins and coloring and a lot of fun activities for the kids to do in the store. And that's the weekend of April 6th and 7th. And then, monthly we have some free seminars going on. So we also do private events, whether in store or out of store. So we do get a lot of requests for those. Again, we just want to be a partner in the community, providing that education and being that resource for all things in the environment, gardening, or greening up the lawn.
No, 100%. And that is a skill in a trade. Gardening, I'm saying, is a skill in a trade we all probably need to get a little bit in tune to, not to tell people what to do, but I would think as a human, you want to get inside, get in touch with that nature side of things. So starting a small garden, or at least learning how to start a small garden, or if your soil is even good enough for it, starting at a place like English Gardens, West Bloomfield is a perfect place to start. And even if you want to have the greenest lawn on the block, like you said, for our Dale Gribbles and Hank Hills of the West Bloomfield community, English Gardens is the perfect place to start for that also. And I know you said a few of the events are free, and the Plant Pal was one that you pay for. A lot of different events that you all have going on, but essentially everything can be found on your website. So before we essentially go, can you just tell a little bit more, any other last words for the community, and then just wrap up by telling people where they can find all the information?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me today. Again, thanks for supporting us. 70 years this year is our 70th anniversary. So thank you for that. We're just so glad to be here and a part of the West Bloomfield community. If you go to englishgardens.com, at the top of the page is an events tab. You can find all of the details and register for those that require a pre-registration. But we are excited to see you out English Gardens this spring.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot to look forward to this spring, this summer, a lot of different events. Easter egg hunt going on this weekend, as well as it'll be some continuing weekends also. So make sure you get all of that information on their website, englishgardens.com. VP of Marketing for English Gardens, Olivia Zarnt, joining us to talk about those events. Thank you again, Olivia.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Continuing to keep you informed with local events going on in the community. We will always be that #1 source right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Thank you again for joining us and watching on all platforms, Facebook. We continue to have more information to keep you updated and informed with events and everything. So stay right here on the Splash Live. Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, Civic Center TV, on the website, civiccentertv.com. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh, live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.